Have you ever seen a sunset and thought to yourself, wow, that is a beautiful sunset? Well, I'd like you to close your eyes for a moment and picture that same sunset, but from 10,000 feet above sea level. Pretty amazing, right? Well, all of that's possible in a Cessna 152. My name is Zach DeVries, and I'm currently going to school to be a pilot, and I study it frequently. Today, I want to share with you what I know about an aircraft inspection checklist for a Cessna 152. This is going to include our initial, exterior, and interior checklist, which will lead to starting up the engine. That engine, according to Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, or AOPA, 2020 Cessna 152 specifications, is a 235 cubic inch, 4-cylinder, 110 horsepower carbureted motor. Before you get to see that beautiful sunset and drive that amazing motor, you have to go through your checklist. According to John Puckrup, a military pilot and now private pilot for the past 34 years, states that the checklist is the difference between life and death. The checklist can be long and hard to follow, but it can be broken down into easy steps. First, we'll start off with the initial checklist, and to do this, we're going to use Checkmate Aviation Incorporated 1992 to 2010 Cessna 152 Checkmate. This will include our initial, exterior, and interior summaries for that checklist. First things first, we need to get into the plane. You're going to want to make sure that your weather, weight, and balance are all recorded. Then make sure your paperwork, including your flight plan, are all in order. We then will turn our attention to the plane. We're going to turn on our fuel, flip on our master switch, and take the control lock out of the yoke. Once that's done, you want to extend your flaps and make sure that you check them visually to make sure that they're working properly. We'll then turn on our lights and go outside of the plane, do a walk around, and make sure all of the lights are working and on. After that's done, we need to check our fuel gauges and make sure they're in working order. However, according to Brady Bigulke in his YouTube video, Cessna 152 Flight Training, Startup, Takeoff, Landing, Traffic Pattern, you should never trust or rely on your fuel gauge. You should always check it manually. This is going to lead us into our exterior checklist. We want to check our fuel quality and quantity. John Puckrup says that if you get water in your fuel, your engine could quit mid-flight. This will cause your plane to become a glider, and it can still be landed safely. However, it's certainly not ideal. After checking our fuel quality and quantity, we want to check our caps and vents. Then, we'll move on to checking our engine oil, our belt, our propeller, air intake, and make sure that there are no cracks in our exhaust. Once that's done, we'll check our stall indicator and make sure that our static ports are clear. After making sure the static ports are clear, you want to check your tires and make sure they're full of air. Our antennas are all there and where they're supposed to be, and that the ties that hold the plane to the tarmac are off. That'll complete the exterior checklist, but we want to do one final walk around to make sure we didn't miss anything. The interior checklist is as equally important to the exterior, however, it's considerably shorter. You want to make sure that your takt time and your hobs are all recorded. Then, make sure your circuit breakers and your alternate static are in working order. Then we're going to pump both brakes and make sure that there is the proper resistance. This will help ensure that we're able to stop once we're ready to. Once all of our checks are done, we're ready to start the plane. But real quickly, we should review what we've gone through to make sure we didn't miss anything. Safety reasons. According to Joanne Ford, April 22nd, 2016, in an article titled Cessna 152, Defining the Dependable Trainer, Cessna 152 was introduced in 1978 as a modernized version of the Cessna 150. She then states that production ended in 1985. That means that this plane is 35 years old or older. That is vital to know because it's going to provide an importance to make sure our checklist is done properly. First, we have to complete the initial check of the plane, making sure all of our paperwork is in order and making sure that our controls are accurate. Then, we have to do our exterior check, ensuring the quality and quantity of the fuel are good. We then make sure all of the instruments on the plane are in working order. We then move into the interior checklist. making sure that our circuits are good, our takt times are properly recorded, and our brakes are in working order. Once all of that is done and you've double checked that you've done your initial, exterior, and interior checklist properly, you're ready to yell out "clear" from the window and start up your plane. We'll then contact ground control and move into our pre-taxi checklist and our run-up checklist. However, I don't have time to go through that with you today. Once we're done with our run-up checklist, we'll call the ATC, or Air Traffic Control Tower, and let them know that we're ready for takeoff. Now, I hope that you've learned that the process of flying can be long and it can be hard. But it is well worth it, because finally, you're ready to take to the sky and see that beautiful sunset from 10,000 feet above sea level. Thank you.